welcome to the Web3 Business Show. I'm here today with Ugo. Hello, Ugo. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Robbie.
And with my lovely colleagues Kay and Edgar as well. And today we're gonna talk about Hugo's story as a Web3 entrepreneur, and of course his project Xend.Africa. So let's get started. Hugo, can you just give your for our audience, your high-level elevator pitch, what you guys are trying to achieve in Web3?
Okay, yeah. Xend Finance currently is building, global standards and a layer one blockchain for real-world asset tokenization and on-chain management. We initially started off as purely focused DeFi protocol in 2019. We actually started in 2019, and then we acquired more than 160,000 users, and now because our initial DeFi protocol would allow people to earn yield on their stable currency deposits or investments, or people can also convert their local currencies to stable cryptocurrencies. So that was the first phase of our project. Now we're evolving to the second phase, which is real-world asset tokenization. Yeah, so that's basically what we are currently doing, and we've been in this space for 5 years. Xend Finance has been existing for 5 years, and we're backed by Binance and by Google.
Backed by Binance and Google. That's great. So you're in their accelerator program.
Yes, we completed the accelerator programs. Yes, Binance Labs and Google Startups for Africa, to be precise.
Let me just kick off a little bit with a more general question before we go specifically in the tech and marketing side. So you mentioned 5 years. That's been quite a journey. Can you share a little bit with our audience what you went through from an entrepreneurial business building perspective, what challenges and how you were able to overcome them?
Yeah, so it's been really it's not been easy, for the past the 5 years we've been building on Xend Finance. But I would mention this myself. I started out as an entrepreneur in 2016, actually 2015, when I finished from the university. While I was in university, I was also selling some software and everything in 2014. So professionally I've been doing software engineering, the entrepreneurship journey for 9 years, right? But unofficially 10 years. That's since 2014, while I was still in school in University of Nigeria. Now, throughout the journey for Xend Finance, which started 5 years ago, hasn't been very easy because we were trying to build out. So initially, Xend Finance was supposed to just be a simple wallet for people to send and receive money online and offline. We started out, onboarding students in the university. And then from there, we decided, we realized that, okay, this was working, but there was a limit. And the limit was just having people in schools. And we also realized something, that people still love cash. Even to tomorrow, cash is king. People love cash a lot. So it wouldn't really replace the cash system available. And then there was huge regulation, right? Actually, at that point, it was very difficult. So much regulation in terms of dealing in the financial service space. So anyway, I already had my background in crypto, in the blockchain space, because I started blockchain engineering in 2016. So I decided, okay, we need to move to a space where we don't have any sort of borders, where we can access and reach people anywhere in the world. And that's why we adopted DeFi. Right, so I started out by building the initial DeFi yield protocols for Xend Finance, and then we got backed by Binance. And after Binance got into Google Launchpad, it was really good for us. And we started exposing ourselves to a much wider audience, and that brought in a lot of more challenges, right? Because we're from Nigeria, and building from Nigeria and focusing building a product from Nigeria and pushing it out to the world it would attract it will attract like lots of mixed feelings. People might say, I know, remember then people saying, "Oh, are you sure these guys are not scammers and all that?" Right? It was a big thing on our Twitter. Then we'd make posts. People would come and say, "Oh, they're Nigerian scammers and all that." It was a problem really. That whole stereotype and all that. But we didn't really mind, and we continued to push, and it was good that we had the backers like Binance and Google. It helped to really shape a good narrative or paint a right picture to give people some level of comfort. But it's not enough, right? Because those companies are not, in quotes, insurance companies. You still have to do your work. So we had to ensure that we did a lot of work, building our products, even convincing people, right? Because another challenge we faced was onboarding people to crypto in Nigeria and in other parts of the world. Nigeria was our main focus because initially we were working on helping people protect them from inflation or devaluation by converting their local currencies to stable cryptocurrency and giving them yield in stable cryptocurrency. That's by leveraging DeFi. And when you mention cryptocurrency in Nigeria or maybe in other African countries, people also think that's a scam. So it was a big deal. But then we decided to rebrand the ads or the way we were reaching out to people, and we simply just told them, look, what the app offers is a service for you to save in dollars and earn yield in dollars. Everybody could understand that, right? And we made onboarding very easy. All you just had to do was to deposit. You could use a bank, your bank transfer, to do a transfer to an account on the app, and then you get your USD, but it's USDT, right? And then you're able to save. So it made it so easy. And after we did that, we onboarded hundreds of thousands of people. Like it was like magic, and it was great. It helped us a lot. Yeah, we also had our raw smart contract, the protocol online that people could access with MetaMask and all that. But that wasn't our focus. Our focus was to onboard regular Web2 people into Web3 and to create real world value for them. So those were challenges that we faced early on, and we were able to surmount and to surpass some of those hurdles that we had early in the day in terms of onboarding users, in terms of acceptance, in terms of how people would perceive Xend Finance. But now I'm very happy because Xend Finance is it's a global brand. We're still building, but in terms in Africa, Xend Finance is the biggest DeFi protocol, or the biggest DeFi protocol in Africa. And now that we've also evolved to real world assets, we are also about to make a huge entrance in the real world asset space from Africa, which is great. A lot of people now, when they want to even reach across to other projects in Africa, they reach out to us and they want to know if we know some of these projects, right? Yeah, and we've also done some small investments in other Web3 projects and other great startups in Africa. So this is something that we've been able to do over the past couple of years. But yeah, there's been a lot of challenges. Even till now, there's still challenges. But then we've been able to develop that tenacity, that strong will, that thick skin to be able to surpass them no matter what comes.
Well, that's amazing. I had no idea that you guys were actually the biggest DeFi protocol in Africa. Ed, do you have any questions from the technical perspective for Hugo?
Yeah. So I've seen your website that you also handle RWA tokens, right? So my question is, is there the number of fraction constant for all the assets, or it's different for every asset?
Okay, yeah. So in terms of tokenization, if you've checked out our white paper, it's actually going to be different for every asset, right? We have not finished implementing the protocol for handling tokenization. There are different phases. For example, now we are just finishing our layer 1 blockchain that the tokenization and everything will happen on, and it's going to be launching in a couple of days, right? It's going to be launching, the testnet will be launching in a couple of days, right? So let's say between now and the next 10 days or thereabouts, the testnet should be launching, right? And that's the first phase. Then we also have documentation, some projects, like sample projects that people can use to see how to build on assets chain. The name of our blockchain is assets chain, by the way, because it's purely like it's the focus on DeFi and real world assets. Then in terms of the tokenization engine, that's the next phase of the development, but everything is on our white paper if you care to take a look. So it's not necessarily tied, there's no particular there's no fixed fraction. So depending on the asset that is being tokenized, then it's the deployer of that asset will now select how the tokenization will work on something we call the Origin Studio. So that's where tokenization happens, and you don't need to know how to write software to do that. Everything is going to be automated for you. So even the smart contracts deployment and all that. So you don't have to bother. You don't have to be technical, right, to be able to tokenize your assets on Xend Finance's layer 1 blockchain.
Oh, that's great. We could probably actually use that in the future. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about marketing? Do you have any questions for Hugo?
Yeah. Hi, Hugo. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Rob. By the way, I checked your website and something really gets my attention here. Like it says here, real world asset, cryptocurrency backed real world asset. It's kind of reversed. So is it intentional? And if it is it a marketing strategy? And yeah, so can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, exactly. Like cryptocurrency backed reward assets. I mean, that's I'll give you an example. When you're creating an asset, when you're tokenizing assets, what people would interact with will be the digital version, right? But then it's backed by real world assets. Like let's say you're tokenizing real estate, or you're tokenizing equities, or you're tokenizing maybe a classic car or some painting. That painting is what is backing up the digital twin. And then what we are also doing here, right, is not just creating a digital twin. There is a third party involved called the IAC, right? Insurance, asset authenticators, and compliance they are decentralized. So you can even have regular individuals or big organizations that would verify whatever assets, do the compliance, and make sure that this thing is not a fake asset. And there'll be regular verifications, and all these events will be published on chain for regular verification and insurance. So people don't just go and create fictitious assets that don't exist and then people invest in it and then they disappear. No, that's not what we're doing, right? So that's why we say cryptocurrency backed by real world assets, because yes, it's the digital assets, which is the cryptocurrency or the NFTs that people are interacting with, but then it's physically backed. It's backed by physical assets that actually exist in the real world. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because usually it's kind of reverse in some projects. Anyway, one last question I have is because you've been here in the market for too long. What are the most aha moments in terms of marketing that you've done? So, of all the marketing things that you've done, marketing strategies that you've done, what is the aha moments that you've got?
In terms of marketing, well, I'll just put it this way, right? And one thing we've been able to see in marketing for us is that we've realized that, to be honest, it's the community. One thing we've learned over the years is that really what drives whatever system in the crypto space or the blockchain space is the community. And that's why we're investing a lot right now in communities, attracting more people to the Xend Finance community, right? And actually having, for example, more token holders. Initially, most projects might want to hold tokens or, just limit it to a couple of maybe VCs and all that. I think that's a wrong move. It's the more people that have your tokens, the better, the more, because it's all about decentralization, right? So in terms of marketing, we've realized that we've gotten more value by doing things that attract more communities to us. That's to our project, and it's giving us wider reach. For now, we have, I think, Xend Finance in total on Arbitrum, we have over 3,000 holders. On Ethereum and I think BSC, everything combined, I think we have about 5,000 plus or 6,000 holders. and it's good, but we are far away from where we're supposed to be, right? So, for example, we're looking at having, let's say, like 400,000, 500,000 holders, 1 million holders. That's what deepens your community. And in that way, what it also does is that it creates people that will do the marketing for you, people that will talk about your project for you without you being there. It's a community-based project. I mean, you're a decentralized system. As much as possible, everybody should be a part of this system. There shouldn't be whales and all that controlling the system. And these are things I've learned over the years, right? Because when people come into Web 3 with the mindset of Web 2, you have private companies and a couple of people in your cap table. But in the crypto space, that shouldn't be the case. And that is why Bitcoin is winning, really. Bitcoin is highly decentralized. Nobody even knows the owner. And I love that idea, right? And we're trying to replicate that in Xend Finance. So we've seen that marketing by leveraging, hundreds or thousands of communities is the best thing, really. Yeah, it creates so much value. Yeah, rather than just having a few people control the tokens. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that, Hugo. I mean, a lot of project would learn from that. Thank you so much. So yeah, those are my questions, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, I think as well that what you're saying, Hugo. I think that's it's really good advice for other projects out there. That the token is really a great way to bind your community to your project and get them involved. That's kind of what it's at the core of Web3, right? Taking ownership in assets and in your network. So let's deep dive a little bit into your tokenomics as well, right? So kind of what strategies have you applied and have you seen working well for kind of not just like having a token well distributed among token holders, but also getting them involved, getting them incentivized, and what kind of tokenomics have you used for this?
Yeah, so when we started Xend Finance, then what we did was we launched our token in 2020, right? And 2021, early on. But then how we got a lot of people involved, how we created value was one, getting people involved in the initial protocol testnet, so that way they could get them test the system, test everything that is going on, and then you get them rewarded with airdrops. And that really helped us a lot, and we're replicating the same thing right now. Another thing is staking, right? And for example, in the new blockchain we're working on, it's still going to make use of our existing tokens. So we're not necessarily creating a new set of tokens for this. So because we want to still create value, even for our holders that have been there for 3 years plus, we still want them to use their same tokens, create value for their tokens on this blockchain, right? So that's exactly what we're doing. We are going to incentivize them through, let's say, staking. There's validators, so a lot of them will be able to participate as validators. And there's something we're also going to do. We're going to be distributing the ownership of validators and giving these guys access. So the ownership of validators will also be decentralized, right? We don't just want one person have one person can have a validator, but so many people who are not technical, we realize that they want to also become part of this blockchain network. Then we are going to give them that opportunity. We're going to tokenize our validators, like we're a real world asset project. So we're going to actually be tokenizing our validators, and that creates value for people who are holding, the tokens. Then another thing, is in terms of staking. So there is a new model in our tokenomics. We have a sort of interesting staking algorithm that gives people scores. So we have fixed staking, we have flexible staking. So they earn staking scores. So those staking scores gives them value in the protocol. For example, if you have staked a certain amount of RWA tokens, right, it gives you a staking score, and everything is on the blockchain. You see your score. Now with that score, you can now access other features or other values within the entire Xend ecosystem. For example, let's say you're trying to tokenize an asset and you're supposed to pay a certain fee. Based on your particular staking score, maybe you can get a certain discount. Also, for participants in the asset verification, right, they also need to stake RWA. So based on their staking score, they also, people are able to see them, people are able to use them as validators, people are able to use them as, let's say, compliance team. So that creates a lot of value within the system when you actually stake. Then also part of the tokenomics, the RWA is also used for gas fees because it's a blockchain. So the native token of that blockchain is RWA, that's the real world asset token. So people use it for gas fee payments for every single transaction done on the network, right? You pay with you pay with the RWA token. So these are parts of the utilities and some economics we've built into our token model. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. That indeed, like Kay also mentioned, in terms of you're tokenizing even the network as well itself, right? So
Exactly.
even the actual validator. So it's a very interesting development. We're almost running at the end here. So do you have anything else that you would like to share with our audience of like Web3 companies trying to be successful in the space, trying to have successful Web3 project? What would you, as a founder entrepreneur, like to share with them?
Yeah, I think finally I would like to let so in terms of Web3, things move very quickly, right? And you always have to be, a certain strategy might just be working for a certain period, although there is a long-term strategy that always works, which is one, being consistent, right? That's what I know. Being consistent, having a long-term vision, and continuously building on your product or your ecosystem is very necessary long-term. But long-term is made up of multiple short-term epochs or multiple sections of short-term goals or medium-term goals. In terms of short-term goals, I will encourage Web3 entrepreneurs to always look at what's going on. For example, there's a huge narrative right now around Telegram. Every crypto person mostly are on Telegram. And Telegram has built its own the open network blockchain, and there's so much value. Telegram's community is insane. It's huge. It's active, and there's so much value now. Getting people from Web2 to Web3 through Telegram, like mini games and all those things that help to drive community growth. So it's something new that is coming up, and yeah, it might last for a few months or something, or for a year or so. But it's always good for entrepreneurs to always, listen and know what exactly is driving the community, what exactly is driving the narrative, and see how to plug into that to be able to ensure that their product is successful. That's something that most people don't do. Most people always stuck in their ways and, okay, it must be this. But I always feel that because it's still an early industry, it's always good to be a bit flexible, to be able to see that, okay, I might need to do this to tap into this community and grow my company or grow my project. So entrepreneurs should have long-term goals, make sure you're consistent, but then short-term goals, try to listen to the communities, look at other communities, see what's going on, and see how to learn from them and adapt them to your own project. Yeah, thank you.
That is very, very valuable, I think. And again, I can't thank you enough, Hugo. Really appreciate it. I think it's very very valuable for our audience. Hopefully we can do another one soon as well. And in the meantime, thanks everybody for listening and watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.